Hello, welcome back to the Corporate to Coach podcast. Today, I want to talk about what if something is actually missing in your business. If you are showing up, caring, trying, and still not signing clients, I want to talk about the possibility that something is genuinely missing and it's not your mindset. Please lean into this because if you have ever felt that something is missing, if you feel like you are looking for something or you're waiting for the missing key, then I'm going to tell you exactly what it is and what it isn't. One of the things that I've observed in my 6 years of business now is that there is obviously, and rightly so, a big cultural attitude that everything comes down to things like identity and belief and mindset and our ability to overcome trauma, overcome fear, find our alignment, find our authenticity. All of this is highly important, does set the bedrock and the foundation of how easeful, how joyful, how, to a degree, successful, depending on your definition of success, your business has the potential to be. But when it comes to actually signing clients and the conversions and having consults that are a breeze and having people jump on calls with you or connect with you in the DMs and say, I want to work with you, you're in my head. Where do I pay? How can I sign up? I've been following you and I've just found you and you're exactly it. Yes, there is a place where mindset, belief work, healing, trauma, overcoming fear, alignment is absolutely critical. And it doesn't operate in a bubble because there are many exceptionally aligned, beautiful, healed, good, kind souls in this world who are broke. And if you're feeling like a broke coach right now, I want to remedy that today. Because when I started my business, I could sign clients. I made money through sheer audacity, belief, determination, commitment, putting myself out there, being visible, allowing myself to be seen, to dare to tell people I was a coach. But was I making the kind of money I make now? Was I really powerful? Was I effective in my conversions? Did consults feel easeful and fun and joyful and connected? Were people coming to my consults already ready to buy? The answer is no. And that is because something was missing. And in truth, it's one of the reasons why I ended up becoming a business coach because my curious and inquisitive mind, who likes to understand how things operate, needed answers. And I wasn't satisfied with just settling with it really is, just settling with this idea that it really did come down to belief. Now, there are going to be moments that I will contradict myself with what I'm saying today. This is one of those discussions where I need you to come in eyes wide open. I've already said in the first 10 minutes of this episode how critical identity, embodiment, authenticity, personal power, how critical those things are to the bedrock of sustainable success that is generative and makes our life better. And it wasn't until I unlocked this missing piece that I was able to actually leverage all of the good work and all of the personal work that I had done on myself. And it's this: your business isn't just operating in the realm of mindset and energetics and consciousness. It also operates in the 3D space of actual flesh and blood people who make decisions based on, yes, emotion, but also their analysis, their needs, their desires, things that are tangible as well as things that are intangible. The intangible is the energetics. It's that identity, expression, personal power, authenticity, integrity, anything that is emotion led, belief led, identity led fits into the bucket of intangible. But on the tangible area, there are going to be people who tangibly need to understand what you help them with. So if in your messaging you are saying something like, I will help you with self-love, I'll help you find your alignment, create success, and build an aligned life of purpose and power, that's beautiful. That speaks to their intangible aspects, the emotional aspects, the identity aspects. But if you're saying that, and in reality, you are helping them get a promotion, you're helping them get over their ex, you're helping them be more confident so that they can date, so that they can go for the promotion, so that they can show up and get more visible in their business, so that fill in the blank, so that they can move into retirement and still feel as abundant and successful as they did in their professional career, so that they can raise their children and have less arguments in the home, so that they can go home to their partner and have a loving, deep, connected, sexually freaking free relationship that makes them feel alive. But if you're saying, find yourself, find your alignment, find your personal power, I'm going to help you be all more authentic and live your best life, and you're actually helping them with really tangible things, but you're not saying that, then that is missing. What I see happening with so many coaches is that you're creating and putting a lot of effort into content, into visibility. Maybe you're even investing in that, such as paying for photo shoots, paying for branding, hiring an Instagram coach, or hiring support, a VA even, to help you take what you're writing or take your videos and get the distribution going so that more people can see your stuff, to give yourself a chance of getting more people in your world and more people aware that you exist. And yet, even with all of those efforts, you're creating a lot of resonance. You might be getting messages like this, or, oh my God, I feel so seen, or responses to the questions that you're posing. Maybe you're even giving away like journaling prompts in your emails, or you're telling your audience to do this full moon ritual or journal on this thing, or you're giving them your morning routine. You're creating this resonance, which is powerful for building an audience and has a place. But if you're not seeing the conversion, meaning you're not seeing that those efforts are translating into people in your DMs, people booking the consults, people showing up to your consults. And then when you're having those discussions in your sales calls and consults, that they're coming to the table kind of pre-sold, like meaning they already understand the offer, they already know what it is, they already know maybe even the price. They're ready coming to it thinking, I know what a life coach is, I know how you can help me, and I'm on this call because I'm kind of want to just start coaching with you, but this was the next step. If that isn't happening, your content, your efforts with your visibility are falling on deaf ears. You're creating resonance without conversion. You might be creating engagement without inquiries. And even when you are being consistent, if you're not feeling the momentum in the clients coming in, the revenue being generated, then it comes down to this missing piece. I also want to tackle this from the lens of enoughness versus effectiveness. This came through in a client session the other week. And in fact, I have this discussion on repeat with about 90% of the coaches who come and work with me who have this piece missing in their business. Yes, we do a lot of work on enoughness, on worthiness, on belief, identity, the things I spoke about earlier. And when they say to me, but I'm showing up, I'm consistent, I'm visible, I'm putting my offer out there, the reason why in my coaching containers, I put a lot of emphasis on them getting real-time feedback on their messaging and auditing their messaging and looking at what they are specifically saying and how they are saying it, not just the energy in which they're saying it, but what they are saying. We are looking at the efficacy of their messaging. And my clients will say to me, and this isn't just my clients, I see this in Facebook groups, I see this in my consults, I see this all over the industry. When I hear a coach tell me, I feel confused. I'm not sure I'm clear what the result is. Or more commonly, you know that you create really good results for your clients, that you create results that actually low-key change their life, some in really big and obvious ways, and others in more subtle ways. But you're not sure how to actually communicate that in your messaging, so you don't. Maybe you screenshot a testimonial or you screenshot a message that's come through in your Telegram or WhatsApp or DMs from a client or even a past client who's like, "Hey, I just wanted you to know I just did this. I just did this." And then they reel off these life-changing things that are just casually like epic. And you're thinking, oh my God, when you started working with me, you were even scared to admit that you wanted that. And now look at you. And they're like, yeah, it's just who I am now. And you're like, oh my God, I need more people to know what coaching can do for them. But you're already showing up and you're already being visible. If that's the case, the thing that is missing is the effectiveness of your messaging. And that can come down to a number of things. And I want you to be really honest with yourself as I highlight this. It might be the specificity of your messaging. If you listen to last week's episode with my brilliant client, Rachel Teeling, and she's a relationship coach, and she was describing who she works with. That, my friends, is a specificity masterclass in a nutshell. If you want to know what specificity sounds like, go back to that episode from last week and listen to that episode. She freaking nailed it. And she said herself, when she started working with me, yeah, she knew she was a relationship coach. Yeah, she knew that she was a great coach in helping people make real transformations. But she wasn't as confident as she wanted to be and as she knows she's capable of being because she was telling herself that she was still kind of confused and it wasn't clear. And in truth, when you actually looked at her messaging, it wasn't as direct and as bold as it is now. And it's not just Rachel. Like I say, this is 90% of my clients have a specificity problem. I want you to go back to a recent post or a recent email and I want you to have a read of it. And I want you to just imagine that you didn't know what you did and that it was the first piece of content that you'd ever seen. Is it abundantly clear to you what you do, how you help, the kind of problems your clients have, and how you help them and the kind of results that they get? If it's not, then yeah, what's missing is specificity. The other really common thing that I see is this 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 trend at the moment, and I'm definitely seeing it as a trend, this shift in messaging that goes from speaking as an authority to speaking about things in first person. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. What I'm saying is, if you are being too centric in your drama, in your problems, in the things that are happening in your life that you're navigating, and you're not powerfully positioning that in a way that makes it relevant to your clients and you're not being specific enough because we start layering on these skill sets that you'll develop when you work with me or that maybe you can learn elsewhere. But to be honest, there's a reason why almost every coach I work with struggles with this, even though they've been in other business containers and content create containers and marketing containers and sales containers. This skill set is consistently missing in the industry. It's writing anything you want, whether it's personal stories, personal growth, whether it's examples that your clients have gone through and overcome. But if it's not centered around the client, and I see this even with your testimonials and your case studies, even when you're just sharing a screenshot from like a client win, and you're not making it client centered for the person who is thinking about buying from you now, and for the person who needs what you have to offer now, then your content isn't going to be hitting the mark. Your content is going to be missing the mark and not calling those people in. And look, this is true, by the way, of written content, of verbal content, whether that's talking to camera, stories, or podcasts. The third thing I see coaches regularly miss in their messaging and in their effectiveness in signing clients is articulating the outcome of their coaching effectively. If you have got a testimonial and it was really vague and it certainly validated you as a coach, and it certainly said that you're a brilliant coach and that they love the experience, but they didn't really highlight the tangible things that have shifted. And maybe that's because things haven't shifted yet. Maybe things are unfolding and that the shifts have so far been internal. And you're not really sure how to communicate that. And you're not really sure how to showcase that and highlight that in a way that does a number of things. Number one, you're not sure how to highlight it in a way that actually communicates what the outcome was and what the result was. And then B, you're also a little bit nervous about the integrity piece and confidentiality piece, about sharing details about your clients and being able to talk about your clients without feeling like you're exposing them or talking about their transformation in a way that's like out of integrity or impacting the client confidentiality relationship. Then you're probably holding back. And that missing piece can be really, really devastating in your messaging because your clients, your audience could be leaning in. They could be resonating, as we spoke about earlier. You might have the resonance piece. You might be actually telling people your offers and saying how you help them and communicating some of these outcomes, but you're not doing it in a specific way. And you're not showing tangible examples of how you can help. And you're not giving them any evidence of how you can help. Now, when you are at the beginning of your coaching journey and you'd only had maybe one or two clients under your belt, then of course you don't have evidence. But for most of you listening, you've had paid clients, you've gone through certification, you've been doing this for 2, 3, 4, even 5, 6 years. Some of the clients that work with me have been in this for a really long time. And they're still not confident talking about outcomes and doing it in a way that's really effective because you're circling it and you're skirting around it. And that confidentiality piece, because you're a high integrity coach, is a big fear for you. That could be missing in your messaging. And then the final piece, and this is something that I've really developed in the last probably 18 months, is recognizing that you could have all of the components that I've thus far detailed, and you could still be missing the decision factor, the factor in your messaging that has people realize that this isn't just about maybe one day. This isn't just about, oh, I've got you on my vision board, but actually the time is now. This is about authentic urgency and creating urgency in your message that has nothing to do with you needing the validation of signing a client so that you can feel good and believe in yourself that this is possible for you. That is a given when the mindset and the identity pieces are locked in. But if you're not communicating that effectively in your messaging for the benefit of the client, not you, the client, and understanding and being so committed to their urgency and why they need to buy this now. And when I say buy this, not just for the sake of buying, why they need your transformation now. Not tomorrow, not next month, not when they get paid, not next year, now, today. As in, I am booking that consult today. I'm sending that DM. I am commenting the word that you want them to comment so that your ManyChat can activate and send them the link today. Without that decision power in your messaging, no wonder you're getting crickets because you're on their vision board. They're not in your DMs. This came about because this was happening to me. A few years ago, over the span of about 3 or 4 weeks, I had 3 people tell me I was on their vision board. The first time, I was flattered. The second time, I was excited. The third time, I was over it. Why am I on your vision board? Why am I not in your diary? Why am I not meeting you and having a consult today? I realized that, yeah, I could go and do some inner healing. I could go and do a meditation. I could go and look at, I don't know, some trauma around receiving. But I also knew I'd already done that. I'd already done the inner work. I was no stranger to the healing. I was no stranger to the embodiment. I was no stranger to the powerful intentional thought creation. What I looked at was my messaging, and I looked at what am I actually saying and communicating that makes them think that this is a tomorrow problem and not a today problem that they need to fix right now. When I shifted that, I haven't had that comment since because people hire me. They don't put me on their vision board. Now, if I'm on your vision board right now and you just haven't told me that, I ain't mad about that anymore. I'm still incredibly flattered and excited. But what I'm more interested in is creating messaging and energetics through my messaging that for the person who isn't willing to wait for tomorrow, who actually wants to be activated now, who is activated in their frustration that they're not achieving the results they want, who is already activated in the disappointment that they don't want to go another day where their business isn't working. And then they come across my message and my offers and they go, right, yeah, okay, done, done, and done. Let's get this show in the road. That is the shift. If you are listening to anything I'm saying here today and you're thinking, okay, yeah, I'm seeing I'm not doing that in my messaging. I'm seeing that maybe there is a missing piece. Here is the really, really good news. The really good news. Everything that I have described to you is teachable. It is what I do. I will show you how to get hyper specific in your messaging so that no matter what trend you're playing with, no matter what platform you're showing up on, no matter what medium you want to use, whether that's video or written, no matter how messaging, marketing, AI, no matter how business evolves, you will know the skill set, the foundational skill set of how to understand, articulate, and communicate your client's problems, your client's desires, and your offer, and the way that your offer helps them. I also will help you develop this skill set of knowing how to actually talk about your offers. Because you could talk about the client problem and you could certainly talk about the things they want to achieve and the things they're aiming for and where they're going in life. But if you don't know how to communicate that your offer is the stepping stone to that and is the path that's going to get them there faster, then you're still going to have a gap. And the other skill set that I teach you is how to communicate why people should work with you. Not that other business coach, not that other relationship coach, not that other life coach, not that other transition coach, not that other parenting coach, you. Why you? And it is the hardest question to answer. Truly. Have you ever seen it where people have said, you need to know your unique selling point, your USP. You need to know why people are going to work with you over anyone else. You need to be able to explain why your coaching is different to anyone else. And you're thinking, well, actually, I'm part of a certification cohort of 1,000 people, and we all learned the same process. So I think I'm just the same as everyone else. And I'm a good person and I have my likes and dislikes and the things that I like to do on the weekend, but none of that really impacts my clients. If you have ever felt that frustration, or if you have ever felt the sting of comparison, where you have the like drive and inspiration and excitement and motivation to get out there and get visible, and you go to do so. And as soon as you open your app on your phone, you're like, oh, and my coach bestie has just gone and done it better than me. Or, oh, the coach that I follow, I was just about to write something, but she wrote it 10 times better. What's the point? Why do I bother? Am I ever good enough? Is this ever going to happen to me? What am I missing? And the spiral continues. If that has ever happened to you, then learning the skill of knowing how to talk about why you are the coach of choice, what makes you different. And trust me, I am yet to work with a coach who hasn't been able to articulate this after working with me because I know how to help you find it. Because you aren't here by freaking accident. There isn't a fluke in the universe that meant that you got this far only to freaking get this far. You have something powerful to offer. Your coaching is brilliant. You know it is. Even if you're not as far along as you want to be, and even if you know that today is just a patch on who you're going to be, you still have something powerful to offer today. And if you know that you are ready to sign clients today, you are ready to develop the skill set and stop saying to yourself something is missing and actually start learning the skill sets where you know how to troubleshoot and identify within your own business when something is missing, and so that you can plug that gap and then get out there and be the powerful version of you that you know you're becoming anyway, then this is exactly what I do with my clients. And if you haven't already seen, at the moment, I am opening a 5 week implementation container for you to come and learn exactly how to do this and put it to practice. I am opening Messaging Mastery. At the time of this recording, this is the second time I am selling this to the public. The first time I sold this course, the results were astounding. The coaches inside came in feeling the frustration, the confusion, the annoyance of knowing they had something powerful to say, knowing they've seen glimpses of it for sure, and knowing that they've created some results, but always feeling like there was something missing in their messaging. And when they went through Messaging Mastery, I have had coaches say to me that they have gone through courses before and something about this made it click into place. That even though they had really intangible niches, doing some really beautiful, spiritual, nervous system led work, inner work, powerful healing work that is sometimes hard to put into words, that they were finally able to give it language to be able to sign clients so that they could show up powerfully when they are being visible, knowing that now that they had this skill set in place and locked in, that messaging was no longer the problem, that if there was something else going on in their business, it certainly wasn't messaging. And that any time that they move, carried on in business and maybe took a break and wanted to come back to it, they knew that they could post one thing even if they've ghosted their business for a week or a month, and know that what they have to say is going to land because they know how to be specific. They know how to position themselves powerfully. They know how to talk about the outcomes that their coaching creates. And they know why people should work with them. When you have these things locked down, then the only thing that is really ever missing after that is remembering your power and remembering who the frick you are. And at every level of business, you're always reconnecting to your level of personal power and always reconnecting to who the frick you are and what you want to bring to the table now. Because you're going to evolve, you're going to expand, you're going to grow. But messaging should not be the thing that holds you back at this stage in your business. It is no longer an excuse for it. Come and join me inside Messaging Mastery. Learn the skill sets. When we work together here, we're going to have 5 weeks for you to implement the foundational modules. These are the fundamentals to what it is to write powerful messaging that converts. When you hear this, you won't ever be able to unhear this. Your messaging is going to exponentially improve. And you still, of course, get 12 access to go through the rest of the modules. The fundamental modules are the 5 core modules that I want everyone to go through week by week. And you're going to have a group container in which to share your messaging that you're going to be implementing in real time, and then to get feedback on the messaging. So you're going to be able to see in real time exactly how to to utilize this in your messaging and see it work in practice. This is not going to be one of those courses that gathers dust. It is why I have created this implementation container for that purpose. But then you still get 12 months access to go through the rest of the modules and to learn all of the supporting skill sets and mindsets that will help you become even more powerful in your messaging. At the time of this recording, the next round begins in the first week of March. That is in on Tuesday, the 3rd of March. Come and join us. Get inside Messaging Mastery now. If you recognize that something is missing in your business, and even 50% of what I have said today is resonating with you, and you recognize that this is missing in your efforts when you're being visible, when you're creating content, when you're showing up in any platform, in any formats, then Messaging Mastery is going to exponentially improve your messaging and turn your messaging into something that people resonate with, into something that converts. The link to join Messaging Mastery is in the show notes. I'll see you inside, and otherwise, I'll see you in the next episode.